Hi boys and girls, it's me, Miss Taylor, coming at you live from my backyard. Sure wish we were together, I miss you. Alright, I'm going to read the next chapter of She Dared, Bethany Hamilton. If at first you don't succeed, try again. So get cozy, here we go. On the day before Thanksgiving, Bethany sat at her kitchen table, her schoolwork spread on the table in front of her. She had been homeschooled ever since the 7th grade. Before that, she'd gone to a normal elementary school. But once surfing picked up in her life, she had to be more flexible with her schedule, including school. Right now, Bethany was anxious for surfing to pick up once again. She tapped her foot, feeling antsy. Feeling antsy means you're impatient, you want to get going. She knew Alana and her other surf buddies were at the secret surf spot in Kilauea. It's pronounced Kilauea, a small town on the northeastern shore. She decided she'd go and watch. But no, as soon as she had the thought, Bethany knew she wouldn't be able to simply sit on the sidelines. In fact, she couldn't make it one more day without being in the water and on a board. Bethany pushed aside her schoolwork, knowing she'd have to find time for her assignments later. Mom! Her mom smirked, a smile so similar to her daughter's. Let's go. Bethany scurried together everything she'd need. Bathing suit, board wax, a board. A board. Bethany paused and instinctively touched Stumpy. Stumpy wasn't going to make this easy on her. Her balance would be off. She'd only have one arm to paddle with, and, more of a challenge, only one arm to push herself up from her stomach to her feet. Okay, so I want to visualize that for a second. So she's out on the water. She's only got this one hand, and she's got to go from being on her board to suddenly up on her feet. You might want to try that at home. See if you can jump up like that. Her eyes skimmed over the short board, a narrow type of board only 5 to 7 feet long, which was what she usually used. Their size and shape made them ideal for quick turns and tricks because they cut through the water faster, which Bethany loved. For now, though, she passed over her short board for a long board. Okay, so she's going to use a long board. Long boards are 8 to 11 feet long. Also, they are wider, making it easier to balance and paddle. That was what Bethany needed today. It felt right. After all, longboards were the very first kind of surfboard, dating all the way back to the 1500s. And now Bethany would use a 9-foot longboard during her very first attempt at surfing with Stumpy. She piled everything into the back of Blue Crush and resumed her foot tapping. Come on, Mom, let's go. Her whole family was with her. Even her dad took off work waiting tables at the Princeville Hotel to be there. Bethany, he said, I'm sure you can do whatever you put your mind to. Boy, did she need that pep talk. It was easy to lie in a hospital bed or sit in front of a camera and proclaim that she'd surf again. And to proclaim means to announce. Those were just words. Now she had to act. Bethany had to actually surf. And she felt she had a lot riding on it. Failing at one of the most important things to her was beyond terrifying. But she also needed this day to go well to give her hope for the future. That maybe, just maybe, she'd be able to surf competitively again. No pressure or anything. Her mom pulled Blue Crush off the road to park, and Bethany navigated a small trail until her feet hit the sand. There, she stopped, excitement and nerves pumping through her body. Sandbars had formed throughout the water. That was a good thing. The sand affects how a wave is going to break, and this spot, Bethany thought, is about as good as it ever gets. Her surfing buddies picked up a good one today. Her eyes danced from girl to girl. Kristen, Camille, Jackie, some in the water and some on the beach, and then onto Alana. "Bethany!" Alana called and ran to Bethany. "You're here!" Yes, she was. And thankfully, their little secret spot meant that the press was not, so nobody will be filming her or asking her questions. There wouldn't be headlines splashed everywhere about Bethany attempting her first surf after the attack. She stretched, watching the water to learn the pattern of the waves. It was a special kind of skill, and Bethany was good at reading the ocean. She inhaled the familiar salty air. "You can do this," Bethany said out loud. "You can," Alana echoed. Her brother, Noah, held up his video camera, and "I'll capture every second of it." I guess she's going to be filmed by her brother. Bethany laughed, not sure if that was a good or bad thing. The afternoon sun warmed her face. The water called to her. It was go time. Side by side, Bethany and Alana walked into the water, just as they did on the day of the shark attack. Bethany wanted to pause, to savor the moment, but she was too eager to go deeper into the surf. She dropped to her stomach and plunged her right arm into the white water, all churned up from the crashing waves. Instinctively, she gave Stumpy a turn to stroke and sucked in a breath when nothing happened. Stumpy couldn't paddle. "Forget it. You're going to fail," she thought. She's having some self-doubt. "Go, girl," her dad called, swimming beside her. Water splashed onto her face and soaked through the bandage on Stumpy. She tasted salt water on her lips, and a feeling washed over her that she was home after a month-long trip away. Bethany thrust her right hand into the soupy water again and again. It was hard, like doing a one-arm push-up. She was paddling, slowly. Yes, she could do this. But she still doubted if she'd be able to pop up from her belly to her feet with one arm. She didn't want to fail. Farther out, waves crashed. Big, unbroken blue waves. Alana paddled through the soup and toward them. Her goal was to get beyond the waves so she could surf one in. She gripped her board with both hands and shoved down, diving underneath a wave. Alana emerged on her board from her duck dive in a calmer water. Bethany slowed, her arm burning. Her pulse raced with nerves, not sure how she'd dive and stay on her board, as Alana had. Bethany decided that'd be a problem for another day. Today, she'd surf the smaller ankle slappers. She'd be a grom again. That's a new surfer learning how to stand on a board in a rolling white water. And that was okay. One step at a time, she reminded herself. Bethany got in position, waiting for a smaller wave. She let a few pass, rocking on top of her board, getting used to being back on the water and doing what she worried that she'd lost forever. She felt a give pick her up, and her gut screamed, "Go!" Normally, she'd hold on to both sides of the board and pop up to her feet, but that wouldn't work anymore. With her right hand, she fanned out her fingers and pushed. Off balance, Bethany immediately tumbled to the side and went under. The surfboard's cord tugged on her left foot, caught in the wave that she missed. When she broke the surface, she sucked in air and slapped the water, frustrated. But she knew she'd try again and again. Still, she couldn't get up on her feet. Fear coursed through her. Standing was just the first step to getting her dreams back on track, and she was struggling to do even that. "Bethany," her dad shouted, "try it one more time. This one will be it." She blinked water from her eyes and looked at her dad. She saw confidence there. "Do you want help?" he asked. He could push Bethany and her board onto the wave. But Bethany shook her head. I have to do this on my own. Okay, he said. It may help to put your hand on the very center of your board. She licked her lips. That made sense. She'd have better balance. Back in position, she surveyed the water. A tiny wave rolled through. Bethany caught it. She planted her hand up by the nose, smack dab in the center of her board, and swept one foot and then the other onto her board. A look of awe crossed her face as her fingertips left the board. She wavered, bending as if to touch the board again for balance. But Bethany didn't need it. She straightened, riding the wave in. Just like that, she had done it. Who cared if it was a junk wave? Not Bethany. Her friends and family didn't care either. Their cheers filled the beach. Bethany thought of surfing as an addiction, something you have to do. A rush indescribable to anyone who hadn't experienced it. And when it grabbed you, it never let go, even after a shark attack. That afternoon, Bethany didn't think about the shark, not once. She was too focused on recapturing her dreams. Yay, she did it! Wow, she sure has a lot of inner and outer support, doesn't she? She's got her family and all of her friends, but then she's also so resilient. She's not going to give up, is she? Here's a picture of Bethany. She is signing her name into the cement in the Surfers Hall, outside the Surfers Hall of Fame in Huntington Beach, California. If you ever get to go there, maybe you could see it. And then look at this wave. It's huge. This is Bethany right there. And then look at the size of that wave. And it says, that's in Piahi, Maui. The waves grow infamously big, sometimes up to 50 feet, earning the nickname of Jaws. In 2016, Bethany surfed there and caught her largest wave ever. Plus, she did it only 6 months after giving birth to her first child. She's a little bit older on that one. This is her husband, who she ends up marrying as she gets older. And they were in The Amazing Race together. If you've ever seen that TV show. Here she is at her movie premiere. They made a movie out of her life called Soul Surfer. And the actress who plays Bethany is Anna Sophia Robb. And she was the actress in Winn-Dixie. How about that? And in the movie, Bethany does all of her own stunts. So that's pretty cool. She did become a professional surfer. She began traveling around the world for competitions and trainings. By the end of 2008, she was ranked number 14 in the world. That's so cool. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that.